Hello and welcome, or welcome back. I'm Crackers, and today I'm cutting up my fire pot to add a German-style clinker breaker. My DIY hand crank blower didn't put out enough air to run at full depth, so I put this spacer. Now that it's running on an electric blower, I should be able to use the full depth. With the unnecessary bits removed and cleaned up, I was going to oval the hole with the torch, but I'm out of oxygen. Plan B wasn't working out so well either, so I resorted to using some 3-inch cutting wheels to clean up the hole. The lower half of the forge pot is pretty complicated and I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm welding these side plates on and we'll build the rest of it off of these. I want a significant bevel on the bottom of the air inlet to keep ash from building up inside of it. I tried to leave enough material at the bottom of the notch to just bend it up, but I forgot these are medium carbon and they just broke. A couple filler plates and we're ready to scribe and cut a notch for the inlet to fit into. It was easier to make 2 identical sides and cut the corner off of one, but it still bothered me cutting one up like this. This is the stub I just cut off the fire pot, and I'll cut the flange off later. And naturally some recycled car parts. Now I can just scribe my cuts directly off of the part. It actually goes faster because there's no measurements. 3/16 plate will serve as guides for the clinker breaker, with a 20 gauge spacer to account for shrinkage. These shims will just get welded in with the guides.
Success! Haha!
Then some pie cuts and some hammering to close up the gaps enough to weld them shut. And now I just need to close up the rest of the openings. Take the ash dump off so we can transfer it over to the new one. We got quite a bit done considering all the things that were going on here. I switched this over to a German style clinker breaker. So we've got a plunger that actually comes up and down. I will drill and tap this to put a larger piece on top that'll be sacrificial. I think it's going to take forever for this to actually get worn out. This is about a 1/2 inch square section and there's basically no appreciable wear on it. And the gap around the plunger is really tight. It just barely fits through there. And the back of the hole is tapered. So actually the height of the plunger will actually adjust the amount of air that'll go through. I don't know if that's going to be a long-term thing or if I end up grinding this back out square and using it that way. But we'll just kind of experiment and see how that works. And the actuation for the plunger is actually just going to be a lever out here. And we'll probably put the pivot somewhere around here. We've got to kind of mess around with the placement because if it's too short, it's going to want to travel on too much of an arc and it's going to try to pull the plunger forward and back. We get the pivot in the right spot, and we only need about 3/4 of an inch of travel at the most. And I think we should be able to keep it relatively straight through that range of motion if the pivot's like all the way out here. It's set up so the ash will fall around the outside of the plunger, land here, fall down, and come out the bottom. And I'm recycling the ash dump from the previous tuyer because there's nothing wrong with it. It works fine. Our air inlet is now going to come in through the side here. The pipe where it enters beveled very heavily so that we don't get dust collecting inside here like it did on the previous setup. We're actually going to shorten this pipe down a little bit. We're going to cap it off, and then the air inlet is actually going to come in from the back here. And then I'm going to make a gate valve to go in the back side here that'll close off completely. Basically, I should be able to hook up an air supply to this, actually just clamp this into place, and it should run in theory. I'm sure I'm probably going to have some kinks and stuff to work out. I'll make the linkage for the plunger once it's actually mounted to the table, because I may end up needing to revise it. The pivots may need to change location. Who knows what actually is going to change between now and then. I just have to set it up and work stuff through its range of motion and find out what needs to change then. So I hope you enjoyed it. I've still got a whole bunch left to go. And I will see you guys next week when I get back into finishing some of the modifications on my forge table. And we'll build the linkage for this, and we should basically have this ready to go. Thank you for watching, and I will